My date from the previous evening never really took off. We stepped out of the dining spot, and right before climbing into my vehicle, she questioned, "Is this a rented car? Because if it is, I'm not going to bother continuing." I stayed calm, didn't argue or justify anything. I simply glanced at her, gave a small smile, wished her goodbye, and drove away by myself, leaving her there on the sidewalk. It was a straightforward, peaceful choice. By the next morning, my phone was flooded with notifications. The display showed 21 unanswered calls, every one from her, beginning near midnight and becoming more constant as morning approached. Messages had piled up as well. The early ones carried a haughty tone, insisting on knowing what my issue was. Then they shifted to bewilderment, wondering if I was all right. The final batch were filled with sheer desperation, a flood of regrets and requests, pleading for one more opportunity. I went through them all without much emotion, only a sense of exhaustion. I brewed some coffee and began my routine. Her name is Jenna. We had been dating for roughly 2 months, and the warning signs had been present from the start. I had simply decided to overlook them. She constantly remarked on others' clothing, the vehicles they owned, the areas they resided in. It went beyond casual noticing. It was pure evaluation, an ongoing assessment of everybody nearby. My close friends picked up on it. My sister, Carla, directly warned me that Jenna was opportunistic, but I assumed she was merely looking out for me. The car, by the way, is a 3-year-old Lexus. It isn't extravagant, but it's well-maintained, dependable, and completely paid for. It belongs to me. The notion that she could confuse it for a rental, or that it would make any difference, became the breaking point. It wasn't truly about the vehicle. It was the icy, calculating manner in which she viewed everything, including me. There's some background you should understand. Jenna resides in an apartment complex owned by my family. It isn't a massive commercial property. It's a modest 6-unit structure my grandfather purchased many years ago. We no longer handle the management personally. We employ a property manager, Mr. Henderson, a former police officer who was acquainted with my grandpa. He takes care of all details, and he's as straightforward as anyone could be. When Jenna was searching for a place, I intervened a little. I requested Mr. Henderson to offer her the discounted rate we reserve for friends and family, which reduced her monthly payment by around $400 from the standard rate. It was an informal arrangement, not documented in writing. It wasn't included in her regular 1-year lease agreement. After clearing out all her calls and messages, I located the email Mr. Henderson had sent me when she initially moved in, complete with a scanned copy of her signed lease. I spent roughly 10 minutes reviewing the typical provisions. Then I phoned him. "Mr. Henderson," I said. "It's Mark. Do you have a moment?" "Always for you," he replied gruffly. I could hear the television playing in the background, likely a morning broadcast. "What's the problem? Don't tell me your girlfriend is griping about the water pressure once more." "In fact, it concerns her," I replied. "We've stopped seeing each other. I need you to handle something for me. I want you to adjust her rent to the full market amount, effective as soon as the lease permits." There was a brief silence. "You okay, kid?" His voice grew gentler. He'd known me since childhood. "I'm fine," I assured him, just reversing a personal courtesy now that it's finished. "All right," he said, switching back to professional mode. "The lease requires 30 days written notice for any rent changes. I'll prepare the notice today. It will reference Section 4B of the agreement regarding rent and additional fees, which permits modifications to informal discounts with appropriate notification. It's standard language, but solid. I'll date it today, September 9th, and attach it to her door this afternoon. The increase will start November 1st. "Thanks, Mr. Henderson." "I'm grateful." "No problem," he said. I never cared for her much anyway. She always behaved as if she was granting me a favor by paying rent, which, by the way, arrived late on 2 occasions. I noted that information mentally. He ended the call, and I experienced my first genuine wave of relief. It was a minor, precise step, an issue recognized, a resolution carried out. The remainder of the day passed calmly. I headed to work, returned home, and prepared a meal. Around 7 p.m., my phone vibrated. It was a message from Jenna. "You can't be serious. A rent hike? Really?" I didn't respond. A moment later, another arrived. "This is retaliation for the other night, right? You're trying to get back at me. This is ridiculous." Seconds after, one more. "My building manager said the owners approved it." "That's your family. You're acting like a spiteful kid." I continued watching my film. My phone alerted again with an incoming call. I allowed it to reach voicemail. The recording she left was a full minute of raw anger. Her tone was piercing, claiming I was small-minded and harsh. She insisted she couldn't manage the additional $400 monthly and that I was attempting to leave her without a home. It was highly theatrical. I played it once, then removed it. The quiet in my home felt satisfying. The following stage of this situation involved our shared circle of friends. A friend named Dave had originally introduced us. We belonged to a bigger crowd that met for quiz evenings or casual weekend gatherings. My phone began receiving notifications again on Thursday, a couple of days after the date. It was a message from Dave. "Hey buddy, what went down with Jenna? She's flooding the group conversation claiming you lost it with her." I exhaled deeply. I expected this development. I replied, "I didn't lose it. I simply ended the evening with her. That's all. Ask her for her version." Dave responded, "She's saying you left her stranded in a dangerous area after dark and have been pressuring her building manager." The fabrications were entirely foreseeable. Pressuring her manager? Dave, Mr. Henderson is 70 and used to look after me as a baby. He's practically family, and I didn't strand her. I drove away from her at the entrance of an upscale restaurant in one of the safest districts after she made a rude comment. "What exactly did she say?" he inquired. I chose to be straightforward. I typed her exact words. She asked if my car was rented, because if so, she wouldn't waste her time. Dave's response came after several minutes. "Wow. All right. Yeah, pretty awful." Meanwhile, Jenna was portraying herself as the injured party in the group conversation, one I wasn't part of. From a few screenshots another friend, Sarah, forwarded me, Jenna was informing everyone I had anger issues, that I was unbalanced, and that I'd deliberately caused her rent to rise out of revenge. She was crafting an image of a woman wronged by a Sarah messaged me, "Mark, you should speak up. Some people are starting to side with her." I considered it briefly. Engaging in a group debate would be futile. It would devolve into conflicting accounts, and she clearly excelled at dramatic performances. I required something clear, something irrefutable. I returned to my call history from Monday morning. I captured one neat screenshot. It displayed the upper portion of the log. 21 calls, all from Jenna, spanning 12:08 a.m. to 7:45 a.m. It was overwhelming proof of urgency. I forwarded the image to Sarah. "Could you add me back to the chat briefly?" She did. I waited until there was a short pause in the discussion. Then I shared the screenshot. I added no commentary, no explanation, no sarcastic remark, just the picture. The conversation stopped for a solid 2 minutes. Then a note from a friend named Kevin. "Damn, 21 missed calls." Another from Dave. "That doesn't match the story of someone frightened and abandoned." Jenna instantly began composing responses, a rush of justifications. "He's distorting the truth." I was concerned for him. I believed something bad had happened. He wouldn't pick up. But the impact was irreversible. Her narrative of being a fearful victim no longer held up against the record of her repeatedly calling my phone for hours. It appeared precisely as it was, the panicked behavior of someone who understood they'd miscalculated and lost a comfortable arrangement. I noticed the typing indicator again, likely preparing another lengthy defense filled with falsehoods. Before she could send it, I wrote a single line. "I'm not going to debate this. Believe whatever you prefer." Then I asked Sarah to remove me from the group once more. My phone stayed quiet for a while, and then several direct messages arrived. One from Dave. "Sorry, man, I should have seen it earlier. She's always been focused on status." One from Kevin. "You dealt with that masterfully. Reach out if you need support." The false story she attempted to spread had collapsed under one undeniable fact. The weekend went by peacefully. I took a trail walk, watched a film, and savored the tranquility. I thought the hardest part had passed. The rent was adjusted. The friend circle understood the reality. I expected her to simply disappear from my life. I was mistaken. The next development would involve my relatives. There remained one final unresolved matter. A belonging of mine. Roughly a month into dating, we attended a fundraising event. I had allowed her to borrow a timepiece. It wasn't an ordinary one. It had belonged to my grandmother. It was a classic design, refined and subtle, carrying immense emotional significance. I rarely lent out family keepsakes, but she had persuaded me so effectively, describing how she had the ideal outfit but lacked matching jewelry. I had foolishly agreed. I had messaged her about returning it once prior to the major fallout, and she'd been vague. "Oh, it's in my accessory case. I'll bring it next time we meet," she'd replied. Now, there would be no next meeting. I sent her a courteous but resolute message on Monday. "Jenna, I need my grandmother's watch returned. Please tell me a convenient time this week for me to come by and collect it." Her answer arrived after an hour. "I'm extremely occupied with my job, and truthfully, I don't feel safe meeting you currently. You've been quite aggressive. I refuse to engage in this tactic. I'm not requesting a visit. I'm recovering my belonging. Simply leave it with the front desk, or I can stop by when you're there. It will take moments. I'm uncertain of its location," she messaged. I may have lost it. That statement triggered a sharp surge of irritation. Lost it. An irreplaceable family treasure. I recognized she was fabricating. It was an attempt to retain control. One remaining advantage over me. I wouldn't permit it. This is when my sister stepped in. I phoned Carla and described the circumstances. She was outraged for me. "I warned you, Mark. I told you she was no good," she said. "Fine, here's the plan. We're done requesting. We're going there together." "She won't allow me entry," I pointed out. "She'll let us in," Carla insisted, her tone determined. "She won't want the other residents witnessing her blocking your sister, particularly when we remain completely civil. We won't be confrontational. We'll stay composed, rational, and absolutely firm." Carla always handled standoffs better than I did. She possessed unwavering resolve. Before heading over, she thought of something I hadn't. She checked Jenna's online profiles, and sure enough, there it was. An image from the prior weekend, her at a midday meal with acquaintances. Clearly visible on her wrist was my grandmother's watch. Carla saved the picture, recording the posting date. Then she took it further. My mother had arranged professional valuations of all inherited jewelry for insurance records years back. Carla contacted her, and soon Mom emailed the scanned valuation for the watch. It contained a thorough description, the identification number, and its estimated replacement cost, nearing $5,000. It also specified its provenance from my grandmother's collection. Carla printed the online image and a copy of the valuation document. "All right," she said, holding the pages. "Now we have solid proof." The following evening, we drove to Jenna's building, the one my family owns. I pressed her apartment buzzer from the entrance area. "Who's there?" Her voice came through the intercom. "It's Mark and my sister Carla," I replied evenly. "We've come for the watch. We won't leave without it." A prolonged quiet followed. "I already said I don't know where it is." "Let us in, Jenna," Carla stated firmly. "Or we can discuss this in the entrance hall." I'm certain Mr. Henderson wouldn't object to overhearing. Naming Mr. Henderson worked. The door unlocked, and we ascended. She cracked the apartment door slightly, dressed casually with a frown. "What do you want?" "The watch, Jenna," I said, maintaining steady tone. "Immediately, I can't locate it," she insisted again, her gaze shifting between Carla and me. "I'll search this weekend." Carla remained silent. She merely raised her phone, showing the photo of Jenna wearing it days earlier. Jenna's complexion drained. "That doesn't mean anything," she muttered. Carla then displayed the printed valuation. She indicated the specific entry detailing the watch. "This establishes it as a valued family heirloom. We possess an image of you wearing it after stating you'd lost it. This has escalated past a minor dispute. This now constitutes theft." Jenna looked at the document, then at Carla's steady expression. Her resistance simply evaporated. She realized she had no escape. No sympathetic audience to deceive, no online group to sway. Just two individuals, equipped with evidence, in her corridor. She shut the door silently. We stood waiting. Moments later, it reopened. She pushed the watch toward me, her face twisted with rage and shame. "Satisfied now?" she snapped. "Yes," I replied. I examined the band, confirmed it was intact, and placed it in my pocket. "Thank you." We turned and departed. We spoke no further. As we proceeded down the hallway to the elevator, I sensed her staring. I didn't glance back. The feel of the watch secured in my pocket brought immense comfort. That was the final tie, the last hold she possessed. And now, it was resolved. The closing episode of this entire unnecessary drama occurred about a month afterward. Her lease concluded at October's end, and Mr. Henderson had already updated me that she chose not to renew. He mentioned she'd attempted to dispute the rent change with him, even hinted at legal action, but he calmly referred to the signed contract and explained he was following the owner's directives per the terms she agreed to. She had no recourse. He'd secured new renters, a pleasant young pair, eager to pay full market price. I hadn't received any contact from her or encountered her since the evening we recovered the watch. The social circle had split somewhat. A few individuals supported her, but most stayed silent, avoiding involvement. Dave and several others deliberately checked in with me, and we began meeting independently, which suited me perfectly. One Saturday midday, I was at a nearby cafe, reading to pass the time. I sat at a window table. As I glanced outside, I noticed a recognizable vehicle parking in front. It was a brand new Mercedes, the type Jenna used to admire openly. She occupied the passenger side. A gentleman appearing in his late 50s exited the driver's door. He was smartly attired but seemed irritated. I couldn't hear their exchange, but their gestures revealed everything. He motioned impatiently toward her. She responded heatedly, her expression strained. He uttered something that caused her to recoil, then jabbed a finger, shook his head, and entered the adjacent bank, leaving her inside the car. Jenna remained seated, gazing forward, her posture stiff with resentment. For an instant, I sensed a brief emotion, but it wasn't sympathy. It was merely a detached, analytical note. She had located a new prospect, a more affluent one, yet the pattern remained identical. Her contentment relied completely on another's finances, and it was an unstable, tense existence. She appeared confined. I completed my drink, settled the check, and headed to the lot. I had to pass directly by the Mercedes to reach my vehicle. She was focused on her phone now, likely browsing, and didn't notice me. I entered my Lexus, the very car that sparked this entire episode. It felt welcoming, known. It was truly mine. I turned the key, backed out of the space, and drove off. I didn't check the mirror. There was nothing behind worth seeing.